Hello everybody and welcome back to another video. Today I want to talk about consciousness. Why? Well, simply because it is such a good topic and interesting. And maybe also because I have recently read this book right here. It is about a really bad guy who likes destroying healthy families for his own sexual satisfaction. And I could not help wondering how much of his doing is conscious and how much is more or less of subconscious or instinctive character.
And this does not only bring me to the question of the difference of two things, but also to the problem of what consciousness actually really could be. Thank goodness I'm not the first who thought about this, and so I already have something to start with. So let's get right into it. My starting point shall be the abstract here. It is from Troy von Braucher and Norbert Schwarzer, who accidentally happens to be my father. The two intended, or even already have, I don't know for sure, to submit this thing to a conference in Italy. But this shall not hinder me to already dive into the matter and especially show the math needed for such an endeavor. It is perfectly true, and the mass of YouTube videos about this matter proves this point, that there are more and more approaches to try and understand consciousness, sub- and unconsciousness via quantum concepts. This is no big surprise to me, because even before I went to school, which is about 10 years ago, I always understood my own consciousness to be a rather uncertain, if not to say messy thing. Here I show you one of my earliest pictures of the topic. A standard drawback to such quantum description of consciousness seems to result from the old problem that our current quantum theory is not of metric origin, or, in other words, does not appear to be fully compatible with Einstein's general theory of relativity. This lack of true quantum gravity theory does seem to be the major obstacle for all our attempts to understand consciousness. After all, it could well be that consciousness, potentially embedding both quantum and cosmic scales, requires a truly scale invariant and thus metric theory. In order to overcome these difficulties, the second author of the abstract I had shown you on slide 2 explicitly tried to avoid to push any existing theory into the comprehension of consciousness, but instead started his consideration with the assumption that everything, including consciousness, may consist of attributes and properties. Subjecting these properties to a general Hamilton extremal principle, thereby using the Riemann theory and Hilbert techniques, we, most surprisingly, end up in generalized Einstein-Field-Equations. These equations do not only contain the full theory of general relativity, as you can see here in the red ellipse, but lo and behold also include all main quantum equations, be it for bosonic or fermionic entities. The whole ensemble undoubtedly has the characteristics of a quantum gravity theory, and the best part of it is that it was already there for about 107 years, in a paper from the great mathematician David Hilbert. Only that neither Hilbert nor Einstein had a chance to see it, because the more advanced mathematical quantum theory came over a decade after the general theory of relativity, and then the theoreticians were also overwhelmed by the new quantum theory that nobody, at least so it seems, ever looked back at the old Hilbert work from 1915. Here now, however, when having started with just an ensemble of properties, we apparently have ended up in a true quantum gravity theory, and thus may have obtained something much more suitable for the description of the thing we call consciousness. The question we still have to answer, however, is How many attributes does consciousness need? Well, taking Brandon and many of his colleagues in politics, it doesn't seem to be too many.